Small Steps, Chapter 7. Star Patient Surprises Everyone. On October 1st, I lay in bed with my eyes closed, rehearsing a new joke. As I imagined Dr. Bevis's laughter, my leg itched. Without thinking, I scratched the itch. Then, as I realized what I had done, my eyes sprang open. Had I really used my hand? After 3 weeks of paralysis, I was almost afraid to believe it, for fear I had dreamed or imagined the movement. Holding my breath, I tried again. The fingers on my left hand moved back and forth. "I can move my hand!" I yelled. 2 nurses rushed into the room. "Look, I can move my left hand!" I wiggled my fingers jubilantly. "Get Dr. Bevis," said one of the nurses. She smiled at me as the other nurse hurried out of the room. "Can she really do it?" asked Tommy. "Can she move her hand?" "Yes," said the nurse. "Her fingers are moving." "Hooray!" shrieked Tommy. "The Lone Ranger rides again!" Dr. Bevis came bounding in. "What's all this shouting about?" Feeling triumphant, I moved my fingers. "Try to turn your hand over," he said. I tried. The hand didn't go all the way, but it moved. It definitely moved. It was Christmas and my birthday and the 4th of July all at the same time. I could move my hand. Dr. Bevis turned my hand palm up. "Try to bend your arm," he said. My hand lifted an inch or so off the bed before it dropped back down. "What about the other hand?" he asked. "Is there any movement in your right hand?" To my complete astonishment, my right hand moved too. Bending at the elbow, my lower arm raised several inches, and I waved my fingers at Dr. Bevis. By then, I was so excited I felt as if I could jump from that bed and run laps around the hospital. "This is wonderful," Dr. Bevis said. "This is terrific." I agreed. "When your mother makes her daily phone call," Dr. Bevis said, "she is going to be thrilled." In the next few days, I improved rapidly. Soon I could use both hands, then my arms. I was able to sit up, starting with 2 minutes and working up to half an hour. Movement returned to my legs, too. My arms were still extremely weak, but I learned to feed myself again, which did wonders for both my attitude and my appetite. I was no longer totally helpless. With my bed cranked up, I could balance a book on my stomach and turn the pages myself. I had always liked to read, and now books provided hours of entertainment. The hospital had a small library. Day after day, I lost myself in books. I began reading aloud to Tommy. I quit only when my voice got hoarse, but even then he always begged me to read just one more page. I preferred reading silently because it was faster, but I felt sorry for Tommy, who was still stuck in the iron lung, unable to hold a book. I was clearly getting better. He was not. Each day I read to him until my voice gave out. Dr. Bevis continued to praise and encourage me. Mrs. Crabbe bragged about my progress. The nurses called me their star patient. I realized that no one had thought I would ever regain the use of my arms and legs. A week after I first moved my hand, Dr. Bevis said he wanted to see if I could stand by myself. First, he helped me sit on the edge of the bed. Then, with a nurse on each side, I was eased off the bed until my feet touched the floor. Each nurse had a hand firmly under one of my armpits, holding me up. "Lock your knees," Dr. Bevis instructed. "Stand up straight." I tried to do as he said. "We're going to let go," he said, "but we won't let you fall. When the nurses drop their arms, see if you can stand by yourself." Tommy, my iron-lung cheerleader, hollered, "Do it, Kimosabe, do it!" It was wonderful to feel myself in an upright position again. I was sure I would be able to stand alone. I even imagined taking a step or two. "All right," Dr. Bevis said to the nurses. "Let go." As soon as they released me, I toppled. Without support, my legs were like cooked spaghetti. The nurses and Dr. Bevis all grabbed me to keep me from crashing to the floor. Disappointment filled me, and I could tell the others were disappointed too. The strength had returned so quickly to my arms and hands that everyone expected my legs to be better also. "I'm sorry," I said. "I tried." "It will happen," Dr. Bevis said. They helped me back into bed, and I was grateful to lie down. Standing for that short time, even with help, had exhausted me and made my back ache. The twice-daily hot packs and stretching continued, and so did my progress. Each small achievement, such as being able to wiggle the toes on one foot, was heralded with great joy. I had to keep my feet flat against a board at the foot of my bed to prevent them from dropping forward permanently, and I longed to lie in bed without that board. Although I was delighted with every small accomplishment, I wondered why I got better and some of the other patients did not. Tommy might spend the rest of his life in that iron lung. It didn't seem fair. I mentioned this to Dr. Bevis. "Some cases of polio are severe and some are mild," he said. "When the polio virus completely destroys the nerve center, the muscles controlled by that center are paralyzed forever. If the damage is slight rather than total, the paralysis is temporary. Your muscles were severely weakened, but the nerve damage wasn't total. It's possible for weak muscles to gain back some of their strength. So Tommy's polio is worse than mine, I said. That's right. It also helped that your parents took you to the doctor right away. You were already here and diagnosed when you needed oxygen. Some people who have respiratory polio are not so fortunate. I remembered how hard it had been to breathe and how much the oxygen tent had helped. Dr. Bevis continued. Most people think that they have the flu and don't get medical help until paralysis sets in. By the time they learn they have polio and get to the hospital that's equipped to treat them, the respiratory patients often have to go straight into an iron lung. They don't get hot packs or physical therapy until they can breathe on their own again, which might be several months later. The sooner the Sister Kenny treatments are started, the more they help. He smiled at me. You are one lucky girl. But it wasn't all luck, I thought. It was quick action by my parents. They helped create my good luck. I've been wondering something else too, I said. How did I get polio when not one other person in my town got it? Many people have polio and never know it, Dr. Bevis said. They are highly contagious, but because their symptoms are so slight, they don't see a doctor. There are probably thousands of cases of polio every year that are so mild they are never diagnosed. So I caught it from someone who didn't know they had it, I said. It seemed unbelievable to me that anyone could have polio and not realize it. Mail was delivered every afternoon, and I looked forward to a daily letter from my mother. Most of her letters were signed, Love, Mother, and Dad, but a few were signed with a muddy paw print. Those were from BJ, telling me he had chased a cat or buried a bone. Grandpa depended on Mother to tell me any news, but he sent a gift each week when my parents came to visit. Art wrote about college life and sent me a new teddy bear, just like the one that had got burned. One mail delivery included a big brown packet from my school in Austin. When I opened it, dozens of letters from my classmates tumbled out. Karen wrote about a student petition to change the rules so girls could wear pants to school instead of the required dresses. Another girl complained that her new haircut was too short. A third was outraged at the basketball referee. I had the strange feeling that I was reading about a different lifetime. The other kids were upset about such unimportant things. Just a few weeks earlier, I too had worried about clothes and hair and the basketball team. Now none of this mattered. I had faced death. I had lived with excruciating pain, with loneliness and uncertainty about the future. Bad haircuts and lost ball games would never bother me again. Even the petition to allow girls to wear pants to school, a cause I supported, failed to excite me. I would happily wear a gunny sack, I thought, if I could walk into the school. Be glad you aren't here, one boy wrote. You aren't missing anything but hard tests and too much homework. He's wrong, I thought. I miss my own room and playing with BJ and helping Grandpa in the garden. I miss my piano lessons and roller skating and licking the pan when Mother makes fudge. I miss visiting my aunts and uncles. I miss riding my bike with Karen and playing Monopoly with Richard. I put the letters aside, knowing I was changed forever. My world was now the hospital. Would I have anything in common with my classmates when I went home? I felt closer now to Tommy, whose head was the only part of him I had ever seen, than I did to the kids at school who used to be my dearest friends. Tommy understood what it was like to have polio. My school friends could never know. I'll have to come back soon for Chapter 8.